Welcome to Morning Motivation with Gogo.
And Natasha.
We are back again and we are so excited. And I love that I put on my podcast voice. Hi everyone, because I've warmed up. I've got my entertainer secret spray. They didn't pay for that. They didn't pay for that drop of their brand, but hey,
But they
um
might. They just
they
might.
might. They might. It's going to be on my Amazon affiliate link when I make one. But welcome everybody to another episode of Morning Motivation. And today we are talking about unfinished business remains unfinished until you finish it. Oh, um,
That's how I feel when I don't finish the thing that I need to finish. Or I
right,
finish it. I feel after I finished it, right? After
right.
I finished.
Yes, after it's done,
Yes.
you feel that sense of accomplishment. We have some great stories today, and let's get into it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Natasha,
Yes.
with unfinished business, when in your life did that truly affect you and you really had to make a shift?
I mean, look, unfinished business, when you break it down to the most simple component of it, you could call it one word: procrastination.
Ooh, not the P word.
The P word.
Not the P word.
Yes.
Listen, I broke up with her many a times. I don't actually, I'm sorry. I don't know how procrastination identifies, but in my in my world, it's a her, okay? Procrastination. I mean, that is simply said, simply done. And there's different levels of that. Because some stuff you procrastinate on and you just don't end up doing it at all. But some stuff, when it comes to business, you got to finish that business.
Yes, some things you need to absolutely get done. I mean, I have an example of something that I put off for a very long time, go, and I was ashamed that this was happening like right in front of my face. It was just sitting there. And what was it? It's this microphone stand that I'm using right now in this moment. It was sitting in a box behind, I want to say, a chest of drawers in this room that I'm in. And I had tucked it behind there because I didn't want to look at it because
Mm,
I hadn't opened it yet.
And for how long was it in that box?
I went back and did the calculations, Go. At first, I had estimated, we had talked about this on another episode already. We talk about a lot of these things like interchangeably, but it always has relevance in each episode. So I had estimated initially that it took 10 years.
Mm,
It was not that long. It was not as long as that. It felt that long,
mm.
but it wasn't 10 years. It was closer to, I'm going to do the math now. It's 7 years.
I knew you were going to say 7. I felt that number coming up. 7 years, which is the number of completion. 7 years.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And 7 years it took you to open up that box. And the question to the audience, the listeners, is what box have you left unopened? And that's just something to sit with and to really ponder on because it's there. And in this case, for you, Natasha, that box was tools for your life,
Mhm.
tools for your productivity,
Mhm.
tools for your success.
Mhm.
What tools are we leaving unopened inside of our spiritual box that we
Or
need to open up?
boxes.
B-
Or
uh,
boxes,
Come
right?
on. Wow.
Multiple.
Wow.
Multiple.
What galvanized you to open up your box?
I love these questions, Go, because I was just about to say there's the what and there's also the why, but the what is actually more of a who too, because you are actually part of the who.
The who is you.
This is turning into a Dr. Seuss book. Um, no, it was just like the fact that we decided this year we're starting this podcast. And it just felt like this is the thing, we're doing it and it's happening. And as we were going, I discovered the need for this tool that I had in this box behind the dresser for 7 years. Because before
Wow.
that, I didn't feel that what I was doing in my life gave me enough of a why.
Ooh, the
Hmm?
why wasn't enough.
Mm-mm.
The why wasn't enough.
It
And
wasn't
listen,
strong enough
it
yet.
wasn't
Yeah.
strong enough. It wasn't strong enough. And that right there is such a revelation. The why wasn't enough. You know what I'll say to that? And that's okay. Because in that 7 years, you've done so much, you've accomplished so much, and people have seen that. So it's okay. Your why wasn't strong enough in that particular area, but you had a stronger why in other areas in which you focused on.
Mm.
So even though that box was left unopened, it was still there, which also is another revelation that the thing that you need will be there whenever you need it. It'll be there. It's there. When your why is strong enough, it's there to be activated.
And whatever you need is going to be there. It
Yeah.
will be there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whatever you need is
Mhm.
going to be there when your why is strong enough.
Strong enough. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and then we have a whole, check out the other episode called Apply Your Why, which is also on our podcast channel. Check that out. It is there for your listening pleasure, where we really dive into that even deeper. And then this goes to a whole nother situation. You said the who was you, meaning
Mhm.
that I was a part of that, you opening up that box. Then the next question is, who's in your circle? Because if who is in your circle is not pushing you to greater, then what are they pushing you to? Less than.
They're just dropping like bombs on the whole situation here. I like mind exploded. Mind exploded. Yes. Who do you have around you? And are they encouraging you to open up these closed off areas of your life that maybe haven't been explored because you've put them off for a later date?
And let's get into the real of it all, because it can become uncomfortable when your unopened box is exposed. Oh, what's this here? It's like, oh, wow, I have this thing here that I have not touched, I have not opened. And you talked about feeling
Yeah,
a
I can talk
portion.
about that some more because
Yeah,
this is what the people need to hear is that moment was not a very fun one for me. I can tell you that. I'd seen this mic box, this mic stand box in the corner. You know how sometimes things they catch your eye and you go, not today.
yeah.
I don't have time for that today. But
Mm.
it kept catching me. And there comes a moment when you talk about that uncomfortable, like it started to become an irritation. Like, why haven't I opened that yet? What is keeping me from taking action or just looking at it? There's other areas of my life that just had been sitting in as well. And I was just like, okay, I can't deal with this one. I just can't. It can become overwhelming, that uncomfortableness. Or once you have that why and that what, it becomes more of an urgent thing of, I need to do this right now,
Right,
or I won't be able to sleep tonight because I'll be thinking about it.
right. And you're able to open up that box, whatever box that is that's left unopened, then there's such a relief. It's like, okay, I've opened it. A lot of times the boxes aren't necessarily positive. There could be some, trauma that we left unopened, or there could be a lot of different things. But all that stuff needs to be dealt with and needs to be addressed in its why time.
I'm loving these adjectives. It's why time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And that happened to be now with us doing this podcast, because I have a
Mhm.
similar box story, not as long, but when I got this mic stand, I got it for a whole separate reason of doing my voiceovers, and it did not serve the purpose that it needed. And I was going to return it. And then right around that time, we were talking about doing a podcast. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I can actually use this for the podcast. And then I did. And now it's here. So I didn't even know that this is what it was going to be used for, because I had a whole nother goal with this thing. And it did not
Mhm.
serve that purpose, but yet and still it found its purpose. And it's so perfect for this. So this actually lives in the corner of my room. So once we finish the podcast, I just put it back over there, and it's there because I know I'm gonna pull it back out when
Me
I
too.
do another one.
Right after we finish here today, I'm going to put my little mic stand to the side, and it lives in a corner by the other thing that stayed in a box for a while, which is my keyboard. my piano keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole other thing. That was a whole thing, like the music thing. So it's so nice to see once you open those boxes, how things can start to stack on each other, all the good things that you have completed. You'll
Yeah.
start to notice more of that. Like now I can notice, oh wow, I did clean out this whole area, an area of my room where it had just become overly packed with all these items, all these office items. They didn't belong to me. I live in a shared space, but I ended up needing to clear all of that in order to have the space for my music practice. And I did ask for help, but it didn't come. It was down to me. I needed to either say, look, this is important enough to me that I will do whatever it takes in order to have this space, to create the space for what I want.
Yeah.
But to get up that mountain, it took a minute. It took 2 to 3 years, go.
Mm.
2 to 3 years to get it all from beginning of me saying, look, this is going to happen to all the things getting cleared out, the keyboard getting set up, and me able to like then turn on the keyboard.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Wow. And one thing, this is a side story that just popped up into my head. I think about some of my goals in my career and how I set some goals really early on in the beginning of my career. And then some of those goals, I wanted that to happen that year. And one of those particular goals didn't come into fruition for 10 years. It took that long for me to accomplish that goal. Not necessarily because I wasn't trying to do that thing, but that's just how long it took for me to get there. And I wonder, I'll have to do my own research with myself, what had to happen in me for me to get to that point to book that particular type of job? Like, what did I have to go through? Why did it take 10 years? Because the first one took 10 years and the next one took a month, 2 months. Talking about commercials here, booking commercials. It was a national commercial, then booking another one. First one, 10 years, next one, 2 months. They say that first million is the hardest. I mean, that first national commercial is the hardest because maybe you have to see yourself in it. You have to really see it. And then
You've hit on something right there, right there. You have to be able to absolutely see yourself doing it and or get into almost a state of, I want to say it's like this zone that you get into your mind where you're just saying it over and over again that this is your reality.
yeah,
The reality is I'm the person who's opened whichever box it is, right?
yeah,
I'm that person now. I'm the person who's booked that national commercial right now. How does that person feel, walk, talk, conduct themselves in their day, right? All of that. And it is that level of going from you're on this side going, I'm not the person who's opened the box to you're on the other side. I'm the person who's opened the box,
mm,
whatever box that is.
whatever
I love
box that
this.
is.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. So many tangents. Let's get into your story. Now he has an amazing story. I've heard it. The people are waiting to hear about what is the unfinished business.
So I have a good friend of mine who shall remain nameless. And she knows who she is. Shout out to you. And she was living in Hawaii and she had her car. She had her car shipped over there. And for whatever reason, whatever decision she made, she decided to there's a song called, I think it's by Trillionaire, and it's called the lyrics, they see me rolling, the hating, the patrolling, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty. That's the lyric of the song. So she decided to be riding around dirty and not register her car in Hawaii. And she lived there, I think, over a year, and she never registered her car. I think she got stopped once or twice and got out of getting a ticket, or maybe one time she did get a ticket. But anyway, didn't register her car. So when it was time for her to leave, she was trying to sell her car. And in order to sell your car, it needs to be registered. And so it became, and so she already left Hawaii. She left it with a friend. And so then people were afraid to drive her car to get it registered because it was not registered. And so it was this whole thing of having to navigate, who can I get to drive my car over there to get it registered, to get the whole thing, because it's kind of a process to get it registered. It's a little more complicated over there. And so because of that year of her not opening that box or not finishing that business, it came to a point where that business needed to be finished. And she had to do it. And it caused a lot of stress for her at the time when she had to finish it. I got involved in it because she had to send back her plates because she took her plates with her. I had to go to the storage and get her plates and send it to Hawaii to the person that was going to be dealing with the car. So it was all this stuff happened. And we talk about your friend's crisis become your crisis because they're in your circle. So I had to deal with that piece of it. She finally finished that business and now she's actually about to sell the car over there. And everything is fine now. But for that, what we think is that momentary piece of ignorance, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this for a year, creates a high stress situation. When if she had just registered the car like she was supposed to, then none of that would have metastasized to the point of a high stress situation for you and the people around you. So that is that story. You got to deal with it. Whoever's listening to this is your sign, your signal, your smoke signal that go ahead and deal with that situation now. Because right now it's irritating, but you keep putting it off, it's going to be debilitating. So that's really what is the moral of the story. Deal with your unfinished business. You know what needs to be dealt with immediately, and you know what needs to not be dealt with. Make those decisions because not everything needs to be done right now, right at this moment, but some stuff does need to be done, and you need to take care of it because that's only going to help you in the future.
I love everything about this story. I mean, let's unpack it just a little bit. Let's talk about this was a larger piece of unfinished business that then started to involve other people,
Yeah.
right? It was no longer just your own personal, okay, I better deal with this. And okay, maybe I need to. No, there was now multiple people involved. There was a state involved,
Yes.
so that's government level stuff, legal
Right.
issues involved, right?
Yes.
So, first of all, let's think about that. So, why did she not, do you think, in your estimation, and I'm not trying to put your friend on blast, there could be other people who are out there listening and they're like, okay, I haven't dealt with this thing and I've kind of put it off, and maybe they might be inspired by this. So, why do you think she put off getting her car registered in the first place?
Originally, I think it was just a financial thing of
Okay.
like, I don't want to spend the money on that right now. I need to focus my finances in a different direction. And then after that, it became, I'm just putting this thing off.
So once she did have the finances to be able to manage that particular cost, she then chose to just, because she had been getting away with it, to just
Right.
continue.
Yeah, pretty much. And focused elsewhere. And then it became, and you're so right, because it involves so many people. And that's what happens. Sometimes your business becomes unfinished and then you need help finishing it. In the beginning,
Yeah.
you could have done it yourself. And now you need an army.
A whole team of people to get in there and help you to extricate yourself from the mess.
Extricate yourself from the mess. Come on. Someone extricate me.
I visualize as tentacles almost of an octopus, right? You don't do the thing, which is register the vehicle. And then there's that moment when you decide, okay, I do have the money, but I'm not going to pay it. It's no longer a matter of finances. I have the money. I'm not going to pay it. And there's that moment, within yourself when that moment is. It pops up. And anything that's unfinished will pop up like a
Mm,
like a pop-up reminder from your
right,
desktop. It'll be like, hey, remember me? You said you were going to finish this once you had the money. You got the money now. You can finish it. And then
right,
you decide in that moment, nah, not today. That is the first tentacle wrapping around your
right.
leg, right?
Yeah. And I
The
want to,
first tentacle wrapping around your leg out of the 8.
right. And I want to hop in there. And one
Yeah.
of the warning signs was when she got pulled over. She
Ooh,
got pulled
okay.
over and they asked her, it's like, how long has this vehicle been here? She lied to the cop and said, oh, it's only been here like a month or whatever she said. And I think she got pulled over before that. And they knew it was in the system that it had been way longer than that. And the cop already knew. It was like, why are you lying to me? And she still didn't get a ticket. He, gave her a warning and stuff. But that was that warning sign, literal warning. And I remember telling her, this literally is a sign. You need to handle the situation. And went by unhandled, unfinished. And then, like those tentacles, like you were saying, it just kept popping out until it was like, okay, now I have to.
Drag you down,
Right.
like we're taking you down. And
Yeah.
once an octopus wraps its tentacles all the way around you and drags you down, you're not coming back. You need help. Yes, you need
Yeah.
outside help to break
Yeah.
free from that grasp. So, yes, I can empathize fully with that moment, though, when you decide, you know what, I'm going to put that off again because nothing too awful has happened yet. There's that sort of delaying of saying, okay, well, it's not that bad, even though there's this warning that it could get bad, but it's not that bad.
And being able to identify, like, okay, this is that little warning sign. Let me handle this right now. Because I'm now talking about car stuff. When that check engine light comes on, everyone
Mhm.
knows, you be wait, you don't know what it can mean a myriad of things. You need to get that handle immediately. And one thing that happened with me, when the tire pressure monitoring system goes off, so one of my tires was going flat, and I knew I have to immediately take care of this right now. That changed my whole schedule one time. I literally, the next day, I was like, I need to handle this right now before I go to set, because this needs to be handled right now.
Right,
No,
right.
because if I don't handle it now, what's going to happen? If I put air in this tire, it's going to exacerbate the situation. It's going to be even more of a hole inside of this tire if I keep driving on it. Everyone knows this. Like,
Yeah.
you got to handle it now, and I handled it. They plugged it, and it was fine. I still have that tire, and it's good.
Right,
You know,
right,
because I've been in
exactly.
situations where that wasn't the case.
Experience is a
Right.
teacher like no other.
Hello. I was like, let me handle this right now. Okay. Right now. So this is that sign of handle it now. Handle that business, finish it up, handle it. Fortunately for my friend and myself in the past dealing with, my car stuff, when I did have help, I had the help. Not everyone has that help. And
Yeah.
if you're in a situation where you don't have that help, that means you're going to have to pay somebody. And if you can't pay, then you're just in that situation. And then it starts to build into a whole nother situation, because if you don't have your car, then you can't go to work. You can't go to work. You can't get paid. You can't get paid. You can't pay your bills. All this stuff, it'll just build up to a point where you were just, and that will cause people to have stress. It will cause you to have all these unnecessary physical manifestations of your unfinished business.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh. Oh, yes. The physical manifestations of the unfinished business.
Yes.
Wait a minute. This is something right here because this is so true. All those little ailments where you're like, I'm having a headache, I'm having a stomach ache. It could be that thing that you just didn't bother to look at last week that was saying, hey, I need you to finish this right now.
Right.
Like for me, well, I'll just say it's like around that time of the year where you need to start looking at finishing your taxes, your
Woo!
tax return.
Mm,
And I've been putting it off. I will admit it's been in that box of I will finish that. I did start some components of it, so I want to pat myself on the back
bit of pat
for
pat.
that. But you know, the fact is when I get off this call today, I'll be working on that for the next week nonstop.
Got it.
Every spare minute. Because I want to, I mean, I might not even need all that time, but I'm like prepared to do that. Now, would I have needed to focus myself like this if I had approached this task a different way? Perhaps, right? But I chose to put it off because
Right.
it's not pleasant. It's not something that I look forward to. It's because of the way I frame the story around that particular task.
Yeah.
And that's another thing for us to think about. How are we framing the story around the particular item that we have left unfinished? What's the story we're telling ourselves?
Right. What is the story that you're telling, and what is the fantasy you're telling other people? Because we all know, okay? I've had friends, they're telling people, I'm like, what? You know you lying. I'm just looking at them like, that is a lie. Because you're ashamed. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to talk about it. I also have to do my taxes as well. And I think we have an extension here in California. What I heard, I think we do. So
There's an
um
extension. Like I know all about the extensions for the extensions. So yes,
yeah, so yeah,
they're in
I
there. Just look for them. You will find it.
yeah, so I need to handle that myself. But it's funny we talk about taxes, and we'll wrap this up. I changed my feelings about it. And so I know that it takes me about maybe like 4 or 5 hours of focus to do my taxes because I do them myself with the online company. I won't be shouting them out because they have not paid near a dime for the shout out. So you won't be getting no shout out. Okay. And so now it's like I know how long it's gonna take me to do my taxes. It's gonna take me like 4 or 5 hours. And so I was like, okay, I'll just carve out the time of that day. I have to do it in one sitting. I can't do it in parts and parcels. For me, it needs to be all done at one time. That's
Mm.
just how I operate, and I make it a thing. Like I put all the papers out because it's the fun part is seeing how much money you've made. Look at all this money I made.
Right, right.
I owe you how much? Wait a minute. Where are the write-offs? Let me start this LLC real quick so I can write my life away. Framing it so you can finish it. Reframe the story you're telling so you can just finish the business because there's other stuff that needs to be taken care of. Like everybody knows for the regular human that exists in society in America that has a job, that has things going forward, usually you start off with brushing your teeth in the morning. That's one of the things you do in the morning. There are some people that don't do that. And I'm not talking about those people because they're not applicable to this scenario. But usually you brush your teeth in the morning, take a shower. Some people shower the night before. But like if you don't brush your teeth, usually I don't leave the house without having brushed my teeth. That's a piece of business that must be finished before I meet the world. It's a simple thing. But without doing that thing, I could really affect a lot of different people. Cause I don't have halitosis. I might have halito, I might have a halito with that breath. Okay. It might not be the full thing, but it's like I'm about to really hurt some people's days with talking to it because I talk a lot. It's not amount of breath mint that's going to save anybody. So let me do that simple thing. And do that simple thing. It's going to be a great day for a lot of people.
There's a different range of things, but I wanted to hop back to something that you had said just like about 5 minutes before that, is just about the idea of when you finish that business, you have time to do other things,
Right.
and those other things can be fun. It could be
Hey,
the fun part of your life, the stuff that you want to do, the stuff that you enjoy doing, the stuff you can't wait to do. And I think that's part of the motivation that we are here to give you, is to know that on the other side of that unfinished business are all the things you love to do.
go out there and do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. Thank you for listening, everyone. This has been another great episode of Morning Motivation with
Go, go.
and Natasha.